Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to another free talk. This is teacher Luis Simancas, and this time we're gonna be using the new textbook series, the new network series, book number 4, unit number 5, which is about minor health problems, cutting yourself, burning yourself, getting stung, spraining your ankle, and also we're gonna review the topic of conditionals, conditional type 0, 1, and 2. As always, remember that the purpose of these videos is for you to become familiar with the questions and then being able to answer the questions automatically, easily, effortlessly. So just lean back, relax, listen to the questions, pay attention to the way I answer the question with my own information, and then when you are able to understand 100% of the questions, just pause the video after each question and practice answering with your own information. You got it? That's right, it's gonna be a piece of cake for you guys, because I know you guys are pretty smart and you pick up everything quickly. So let's get started. Let's start talking about minor health problem. Alright, remember to give as much information as possible, to talk as much as you can, to connect all of the vocabulary, all of the grammar that you learn in class, and then try to give a more complex and a more complete answer. Alright, and that'll give a better impression, especially during the oral interview. Alright, so let's get started. Have you ever burned yourself? Yes, I have. Oh good, well, tell me what happened. Well, this story is kind of hilarious. I love cooking. Too bad the only time I have to do it is on weekends, because I gotta work all week long. Anyway, once I was making something for lunch, and I was also talking on the phone and not paying much attention, and I wanted to take a pot with boiling water and put it into the counter in the kitchen, and I accidentally burned myself. It wasn't that serious, but it hurt a little bit. Alright, have you ever cut yourself? Oh, well, yes, I have. I remember once I was trying to fix the doorknob, and there was a screw that didn't fit in the hole. So for some reason, the first idea that came to my mind was to get a knife and try to do something with a knife. I don't remember exactly what I was trying to do. The thing is, I was fixing this thing, and I took the knife, and when I pressed the knife against the doorknob, it slid, and I cut myself. Yeah, oh my god, that must have hurt, man. And have you ever gotten a bruise? Oh well, yes, I have. Actually, I have gotten a lot of bruises. Like, I remember when I was a teenager, must have been like 18, 19, I used to play a lot of basketball, like 5 or 6 times a week. Anyway, I remember once I was playing basketball with some of my friends, and one of them and I were trying to get the ball, and this guy was fighting so freaking hard that he hit me right here in my arm, and I got a big bruise in here. And yes, and another time I remember I was riding my bicycle, and I saw this stunning, beautiful girl. So I wasn't paying attention, so I bumped into the sidewalk. I fell down onto the floor, and I got a bruise right here on my left leg. So yeah, that was kind of hilarious and stupid too. Have you ever gotten stung? Well, by a mosquito a lot of times, especially these days. But I do remember one time I was in Sincelejo. We were there on vacation. And I was like, I don't know, 12, 13. Some of my cousins and I were playing in a field that was next to the house where I was staying. The thing is, we were running around, horsing around, just messing around. And for some reason, when I was turning and jumping, I got stung by a bee, and the stung kind of swelled up, so it hurt. It hurt a lot. Okay, and have you ever sprained your ankle? Let's see, like twice. Also playing basketball. This time was the same situation. My friends and I were playing basketball. But at that time I was a little older. I was like 21, and we were like tough about it. When we were playing basketball, we were extremely competitive, and we wanted to be the best. Controlling the ball all the time. So in one of these situations, I did a movement, and something happened, and I sprained my left ankle, and it was kind of serious. I remember my friends, three of my friends had to take me to a hospital to get my ankle checked out by a doctor, but it was just a simple sprain, nothing really serious, but it hurt. It really hurt. Alright, now I'm gonna ask you a few questions, simple questions to test what your first aid IQ is. Alright, how much you know about treating the most common injuries. For example, what should you do when you burn yourself? Well, there is a common belief is that people do when they burn themselves, they put ice on the burn, but I've heard that the best thing to do in this case is to just run cold water on the burn for around 10 to 15 minutes, and avoid to wrap a bandage on it, since the bandage will cut the air, and so the burn will take longer to heal. So I've heard that the first thing to do is run cold water for 10 to 15 minutes, and then maybe go to see a doctor and see what else we can do about it. And what should you do when you cut yourself? Well, if it is a minor cut, like nothing serious, first thing I do, I try to stop the bleeding with a piece of cloth or something. I pressed on the cut, and once the bleeding stops, I wash my hands or the part of my body that I cut, and I make sure that everything is okay, and that's it. But when it is like a deep cut, I try to stop the bleeding, then I clean it up, then I go to see a doctor to maybe get some stitches or something. But most of the time I just try to stop the bleeding and clean it up a little bit. That's what I do. Alright, and what about when you sprain your ankle? What should you do and what should you avoid when you sprain your ankle? Well, first thing I do when I sprain my ankle, I always try to rest it. If I sprain my ankle, I never try to walk on it. That's what I try to avoid, to walk on it, because it might get a little worse. So I just check that it's nothing serious, and then I rest it for a few days, maybe for a week, or well, not that many days, but for a few days, and I try not to walk on it at least for 2 days. That's what I always do when I sprain my ankle. Alright, good, nice. Now let's talk about conditionals, alright? What do you do when you have a fever, for example? What do you do when you have a fever? Well, when I have a fever, I usually take some cold medicine, and I try to, lie down for a while, and sometimes I take a Dalex, and if I feel really bad, I just go to see a doctor. Okay, good. And what about money? What would you do if you had a lot of money? For example, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Well, of course, I think if I won the lottery, the first thing I would do, I would help my family, my wife, my daughter, my grandparents, my mom, my dad. I would give my mom a brand new house in a very nice neighborhood. So I would create a bank account, and I would deposit hundreds of millions of pesos, so my mom won't have to work ever again. I would try, I don't know, maybe to travel around the world. I would try to go to places I've never been to, and to know places I've never dreamt of. I would spend a lot more time with my loves, with the ones I love, because working too much kind of takes your time away. So you are always working or studying and you never have time to do what really matters, spend time with the ones that really matter, with the ones that really count in your life. So that would be an advantage of winning the lottery. I would have plenty more time to spend time with my family and the ones I love. I would try, maybe I would move to another country where English was the first language, so I would have the opportunity to improve it and use it all the time, and then maybe give some money to charity. I think that's what I would do if I won the lottery. Cool. And what would you do if you had more free time? Well, as I mentioned before, I would spend a lot more time with my family. And if I had the free time and money, I would travel around the world. I would go on vacation, to a nice, quiet place, or maybe to an exciting place, like go skiing. I've always wanted to try skiing. I've never been to any place where you can ski. I've never tried skiing, so I would go to a place like this, try skiing, maybe snowboarding, some winter sports, and I would sleep a lot, man. I would wake up and get up a lot later than now if I had a lot more time. Okay, and what would you do if it rains when you want to go out? Well, not much. If it rains when I want to go out, I usually just wait for the rain to stop and then I go out. But if it is like a heavy rain, if it is raining like cats and dogs, then I just change my plans right away and I do something else. If my friends, for example, are waiting for me, I just call them and tell them what's happening, and I just change my plans. Maybe, I don't know, stay home, watch a movie, do some reading, or listen to music. I don't know, something like that. Sometimes I even invite my friends over so we can join, get together in my house, and that way we won't have to go out. The problem is that they, sometimes can't make it because it's also raining. Sometimes it's hard to get a taxi when it's raining. So yeah, I just relax, I take it easy, I don't get upset or angry. I just try to do something else at home. And what would you do if you lost all your documents, your ID, debit cards, credit cards, your passport? What would you do if you lost all your documents? Well, I would panic, man. Like, you're looking for your ID, your credit card, and everything is gone. I would panic. But then I would go, I don't know, to a local police station and I claim that all of my documents are lost. And then maybe I would go on the radio or in the newspaper and put up like an ad with a reward. For example, I would offer a reward to anyone who finds my documents, like 100 or 200,000 pesos to get my documents back. That's what I would do if I ever lost my documents. Now imagine that you are, I don't know, on vacation in a foreign country and you got lost. What would you do if you got lost in a foreign country, in a place or in a city that you don't know very well? What would you do? Well, I believe the first thing I would do, like I would use my smartphone, the GPS, and I try to, establish where I am. Then if it is still hard for me to, locate a more familiar place, a more familiar location, and get myself back to the place where I'm staying, I will go and ask someone to give me directions, or maybe a stranger or a police officer or something like that. Or maybe I would call someone if I'm staying in a foreign country and I know someone there, maybe a friend, maybe a relative. I would call this person and ask him or her to come pick me up. That's what I would do. Alright, one more question. If you had your life, your entire life, since the very day you were born, if you had all your life to live over again, what would you change? Well, I have a lot of regrets in my life. For example, I wish I had started college right after I finished high school. Because if I had started college right after I finished high school, I would have spent a lot less time, doing some part-time jobs. I would have finished my major at the age of 23, and I would have started maybe a specialization or a master's degree. And if I had my life to live over again, I would spend less time worrying about stupid things. Sometimes you get all crazy about stuff, you get all worried about stuff that start, getting you stressed and worrying you. So I would spend a lot less time worrying about simple things. And what else? I would spend more time doing, crazy stuff with my friends. I was always like the guy who was always quiet and, obedient and doing the right thing. So if I had my life to live over again, I would spend a little more time doing some crazy stuff, not bad things, but things that kids usually do, things that teenagers usually do. I would go out a lot more, and I would spend a lot more time also, if possible, studying, because I was a little less than an average student when I was in high school. I was always struggling with math, with English, with chemistry, with all the subjects, because I was lazy as hell. So if I had my life to live over, I would pay more attention and I would spend more time studying, and yeah, that's it. I would avoid, for example, doing things that hurt the ones I love. I would spend less time, being selfish. I would spend less time worrying and being stressed out about stupid things that at the end I just can't change. It's impossible for me to change them. That's what I do if I had my life to live over again. Alright, excellent, that's it. Pretty good, guys, really good. That was really amazing. Now, as always, let me remind you to listen to the questions carefully. Then when you understand all of the questions, pause the video and practice answering with your own information as if you were having a conversation with me. I'm just making this video to give you guys the opportunity to have someone to practice with, because I know how hard it is for most of you to find a person to practice your English with. So these videos are not meant to be perfect or to use perfect English. It's just a way to become a little more familiar with the questions and practice a little bit of listening and speaking. But you gotta do it constantly, repetitively, alright? One time is not enough. Listen to this video 10 minutes before going to work, 10 minutes after lunch, maybe 20 or 15 minutes before going to bed. Try to do it at least 1 hour a day, and I guarantee that your listening and your spoken English will improve dramatically. But you have to be committed, alright? You have to do it constantly. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in another occasion. I'll see you next time. Until then, bye bye.